mind says a lot. Do you mind if I record you saying something?
What would you like me to say?
I want to know why you're here. First, what is your name?
I'm Mark Hoffman from New York. I'm up in Boston for 9 months studying at the North Bennett Street School for locksmithing. I was with Citibank for just under 13 years. When I was laid off 2008, my end date was 2009. I was a vice president in technology. My job was semi-outsourced. Citibank had brought in TCS and SATM as primary vendors, and so we started outsourcing work in 2006, 2007. I was replaced by a couple of L1 visa holders or L2 visa holders. Those are visas used to do internal transfers. If company A is located in country 1 and they have an office in the US, they can bring in their own workers. Unfortunately, they weren't paying those workers what I was earning, so not only did I end up out of work, but the amount of money floating around wasn't there.
What's the most important message for you?
I think people have stopped. It sounds cynical and it sounds bad. Economists tell us we look to maximize, or we look at our self-interest when making decisions. And self-interest isn't just, greed. It could be as simple as just standing out protesting, for the greater good. But too many people in our country aren't looking out for their own best interest. The entire Tea Party seems to be disconnected from what they understand versus what the reality is, arguing that they don't want government health care when you're collecting, when you have Medicaid, Medicare, objecting to tax loopholes when you're getting the mortgage interest tax deduction. Is a disconnect. Believing that we can get out of recession in a meaningful way without large government spending is absurd, and we've seen it in this country's history and in other countries. Yet you need the government involved to get out of it. It's things as simple as health care are good for the economy. Right now it's what, 1/6, 1/5 of the economy. It's unsustainable. It's also limiting what people can do. If you're 23 years old, you run around without health insurance. If you're 43 with a wife and 2 kids and have your brilliant idea and want to start a business, you can't afford to give up your health insurance unless your spouse has it. So we limit growth there. We need policies that look out for the greater good. In New York, I'm a registered Republican. New York, that's vastly different than Arizona Republicans. But I tell people, I haven't changed my positions. The Republican Party has. Washington as a whole, they're not speaking in part, and I'm blaming the right. Reagan and Tip O'Neill would sit down and talk. You don't have the Republicans willing to compromise. Starting from an absurd negotiating position and conceding points on the left, it doesn't work. Most of the left, the Democratic Party has been as much party discipline as a herd of cats.
That's like my best friend from high school. I just visited
I don't have
her
solutions.
in LA.
I just know what's not right. And the best thing we can do is look out for the 90%. I'm just trying to avoid talking over your taxes.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. So, but the last comment you just made was about looking out for others. There was a movie called I Am. It was released about a year ago, and it talked about we are our brother's keeper.
Yes. Well, I mean, isn't that part of democracy? There is the greater good. Sacrifice, all those little things. Jack Kennedy, ask not what you can do.
Right.
what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. You know, I'm not saying, you know, going out and making a lot of money is wrong. It's not. It's actually rather good. But, you know, when you have historical low rates on income taxes, you know,
Right.
it's a little absurd. The belief on the right that every tax cut's going to stimulate the economy is idiotic. When Reagan cut taxes, it was a massive tax cut. You know, you went from highs in the 50s to lows in the 30s. That stimulated the economy. Going from 28 to 27 is not going to stimulate the economy. All it does is mess up your budgeting. And running historically, having historically low tax rates at this point in the economy and the country, we're subsidizing the rich without even admitting it. Permitting large companies to play, shift your taxes around. GE, how many billions in profits last year? 0 U.S. taxes paid.
It's not very balanced.
Part of it is, you know, the large law firms, large investment banks, they can go out and hire Harvard lawyers, the quants to figure out how to how to engineer new financial products faster than the government can react. But something as simple as shifting profits from a high tax area to a low tax area, and then being a major government supplier, seems to me not in the government's best interest.
Thank you.